Okay, so today, last week we talked about functions. We talked about variable types. We talked about variables. We talked about types, and we did some example. We did some example. We talked about types like integers, unsigned integers, boolean, strings. Okay, so we wrote a function and we said that variables are containers where we store data. Okay, so when we say you're in 256 and orange equal to 50. So we are saying that orange is the variable and the type is in unsigned integer and the data is 50. Then we are storing 50 inside the orange. Understand? So we have the variable type, we have the variable, and then we have the data on that particular line. And so we said that function. So there's an illustration I forgot to give, but I believe you understand function. So a contract is like saying door. So door is the contract. Remember, Solidity is an object-oriented programming. So it is on objects and class. Just like JavaScript, functions are like class. Understand? So that works the object. So when you say door, door is a contract. So when you say if I press the blue button, the door will open. If I press the red button, the door will close. Okay. So that thing I just said now is the function to operate on the door. Understand? Every other thing is static. What makes what's static to move or function is called function. Like the term function is to work. Understand? So when we have our data types, or probably later on we'll be creating our own types. Understand? What will make this thing to work are functions. What will create an action, what to create an input, what to create an output. We use functions for those things all together. So that's how we created function. We talked about function in our last class. Okay, so this class will still be talking about function. We'll still be using those things that we did in our last class, and we'll still be making use of those things that we used in our last class altogether. Okay, so today we'll be talking about condition statements. Okay, we'll be talking about condition statements. We're talking about the else, and the if else statements in Solidity. So while we are writing our programs, and it's difficult to write a complete program without using a condition statement, front end or whatever. Difficult to write a program without using a condition statement. Okay, so today we'll be doing an introduction to condition statement. We'll just be looking at the overview. We'll just take one or two examples on how it works, and we have assignment for the day and to be a wrap up. Okay, so it's going to be nice. I just hope we follow and we understand. I'll try my best to. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So I'm going to share my screen on my Remis, but in case you have any question for our last class, you can just say, hey, sir, I have a question in our last class. I want you to help me with. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, like I said before, I said that writing a program is in any situation we need to adopt a given path, like give users a decision to make, and um, sometimes it helps to control the system. Okay, and if a decision making um um how will I put it now?
So I want to ask a question. When naming like your file, is it necessary to put that hyphen?
It's not necessary. Even if you don't put the hyphen, it's still going to say it. But um, that's how I write my. That's how I name my file, so that everything's going to be together. All together.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, everything starts with a what? What should I write here after the SPDS license identifier MIT the license stuff? What next?
Pragma.
Pragma solidity.
Uh-huh.
Greater than.
Huh?
Greater than 0.8.7 or something. 0.8. Then depends on what you want to use.
Greater than what? Okay. All right. Is that all?
Your semicolon or something. I doubt.
No, something. It's not
You
work.
terminate it.
No.
It's not working. No.
What's semicolon?
I shouldn't put semicolon again.
Yes.
Hello.
All together. I shouldn't put sem.
The greater than you put is not it now.
Greater than or equal.
When you put there, is it not raised to the power?
Hmm?
What's there is not greater than. That thing is like raised to power of.
Okay. So look at my screen. Let me show you something. If you come to this place, you will see compiler versions. Okay. Now these are the latest compiler versions that are here altogether. So we can say we are using this, and if we are using this, then we can come and use something like this and say that you see that it has disappeared. That's because, oh, sorry. Sorry, nobody saw it. Okay, so as
Sir, please
told,
come again.
your compiler version. These are your compiler versions. Okay, so if I come and click on, let's say I click on this, and then I I choose this. I'm using here. I wrote. Let me remove this guy. Let me greater than this. Okay, so you see that this guy is not synchronizing. The version here I'm writing to compile my code is different from what my compiler is carrying. Okay, so if I um want to compile, there's going to be a warning here that's telling me that my source files requires a different compiler version. That means the compiler here is different from the compiler version here. Are we together?
Yes.
Just in case you run into problem. Just in case you run into problem. Okay, so let's use this and we are good. Okay, now it is not compulsory that you use the greater than. So, like I told you on our first class when I taught us about introduction to Remy's IDE on Monday, I said that if you want to use this particular version, you can use this particular version. Okay, so when you use this particular version, your contracts will not compile on a compiler that is on version 0.8.19, and it will not compile in any version outside 0.8.18. Okay, so we can say that um,
Come again.
I said that the reason why I'm even doing this is because of probably some persons this is their first class. Okay, this is the first time they are seeing this. So like I said, your version, if I go on with this now, I'm telling the contract that whatever contract I write on this version is only going to work on this version of Solidity. Okay, so if I run my contract on any compiler version other than 0.8.18, it's not going to run. Okay, that means my contract will only run on version 0.8.18. So if I come here and say greater than or greater than, okay, let me use one, greater than. If I say greater than, that means I'm saying that my compiler version is going to run on anything, any version greater than 0.8.18. That means it's going to run on 0.8.19 and above. You get?
Good evening. Sorry, please, I want to ask question.
All right.
So how do you get to know the version to use the 0.8, 0.7, 0. So how do you get to know if it's going to be greater than or it's going to be equals to or something? I did not get that.
You don't. You are the one to decide. Okay. You there are some smart contracts that don't run on some certain versions of Solidity. Okay, so probably I cannot tell you now, okay, this contract can work on some certain level. As you work, as you grow, as you learn, you discover them yourself. But for now, you should know that, let's say I want to use version of – So say this one means greater than or equal to. So I'm telling Solidity that version that is 0.8.18 is going to work, or anything that is older. I'm writing a smart contract for these versions. Okay, so that is it. Sometimes you have to, like I said, nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. In fact, you can't see it all in one place. As you go closer, as you get closer, it becomes broad and it becomes clearer. Okay, so that's that for the version of Pragma Solidity. So let's create our contracts and let's call it decision making. Okay, so this is the calibrates. Okay, so if everything, everything inside this calibrate is our contract, we are going to write everything inside this curly brackets. Okay, all right, let's start. Now, yesterday, the if statement is as simple as this. If user have money, okay, let me say if user have enough money in wallets, they can buy. If user don't have enough money in wallets, they can't buy. All together. So this is the condition statement. So we're saying that if users have enough money in their wallet, they can buy. But if they don't have enough money in their wallet, they can't buy. So the contract will look at the user and check if the user has enough money. And if the user doesn't have enough money, they can't buy. But if the user have enough money, they can buy. They can buy. That is the condition statement. All together. All together. That's how condition statements work. Okay. Or you can say that if the user has the right password, let them in. If the user has the wrong password, don't let them in. Okay. So that is it. But if we want to write it as developers, we don't want to write plenty, don't write plenty statement twice. So we can say that if this, this, else, they can't buy. All right, so this is how the if statement and the else statements work. Okay, so the if statement is the condition statement, and then the else statement is the, how will I put it? English will I use? Okay, let me say it this way. The if statement is requirement from the user. The else statement is if the requirement doesn't go, what will happen? The alternative, or let's say the opposite of the requirements altogether. So if user have enough money in wallets they can buy, else they can't buy. That is it. Now, okay, let's put this into code. Okay, so let's say we create a state variable and we'll call it um bag. All right, let's say bag is 100, and then we write function, and we say check bag, for example. All together, all together. So let's say
Yes,
we
sir.
okay, let's say we write a function, and then we want to check back. So we can say that let's say a big deal returns. Okay, so we want to check um if the bag has something. Okay, let's say if the bag is empty. If the bag is empty, it should show false. But if the bag has something, you show true. Okay, let me use this one. If the bag has anything less than 0, okay, if the bag has, if the bag has 100, it should come true. But if the bag has less than 100, or the bag doesn't have anything, it should show false. Okay, or let's put it this way, let's have it that way. So let's say if the bag has 100, it should be true. Okay, so we are using the data type bool because that's what is going to be returning true or false. Okay, we can say if now whatever you put in this bracket, whatever you put in this bracket is the validation, is what you are using to check your condition. Okay, so whatever you put in the bracket is what you are using to check your condition, is what is the parameters for your condition. Okay, so we can say if bag is equal to 100, then we can say return true. Okay, okay, so return. All right, we're saying that if bag is equals to 100, it should return true. Oh, sorry, I did not close this guy. I did not close this guy. All right. So if this guy bag is equals to 100, it should return true. If bag is not equals to 100, it should return false. Okay, so let's run this contract and see. Remember, for you to deploy, to compile, sorry, you have to either press this play button, press your Control X, or you press your compile here. All right, so let's come and deploy. Deploy. See our terminal. Terminal is telling us that we've deployed the contract successfully. So let's go check it out. So I checked bag and it's telling me bag is true. Okay, so bag has 100. If I change the value of bag to 50 and run it, okay, so let me check and do it again. So you see that it's telling us that the answer is false. Are we together? It's telling us that the answer is false. So if the bag is 100, it's going to tell us true. If the bag is any number outside 100, it's going to tell us false. Okay, so tell me, how do we check if the the bag is carrying how will I put it? If the bag is empty, it should show us false. If the bag is carrying any number, it should show us true. How should we write that? Hmm?
Come again, sir, please.
I said if we want to check if the bag is empty or not. So if the bag has a value, a number, it should show true. But if the bag doesn't have a number, it should show false. How do we write that?
Probably, what if you are not going to use loop? If you are not going to loop through, you would probably have to put, let's say, let bag, you'll probably count something equals to this, then if bag equals to one, or if bag equals to something, does that work? Or probably a for loop.
No, 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 no. We aren't looping. You know, okay, we'll talk about loop, but loop is all about arrays. Okay, we are not looping, we are making a decision. There's no array here, so we're not looping. We are making a decision. So it's
Okay.
very
Sorry, sir. Where is the else? Where is the else in this statement you wrote?
I did not write else statement. I'm just talking about if statement here.
Okay.
Now, also you have to understand that okay, um, there's this one here is still the same thing as writing an else statement because you can just write here else. You can write else and put this guy here, and then put this guy here. It still works. Okay, so it's still the same thing as writing else and if else, else and if and else statement. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, and good you asked. What I wanted to show you is that okay, this is how it's run, and then I'll now tell you okay, fine. This is when you add else. This is like just without adding else. This is how it works. But to make it more explicit, to make it more explanatory, you add your else statement. So that's the work of the else statement. The else statement is like saying otherwise. Okay, yes, else statement is like saying if the barrel is blue, buy, otherwise don't buy. Okay, so the else statement is the otherwise. So if I remove this else and just say return false, is still else, just that I didn't declare it as else, but it's still at default, it will it's going to play the role of the else statement. Okay, so good question, and then that's still it. All right, so nobody have answered my question. So if I want to check if the bag is empty or the bag is not empty, how am I going to do it?
Okay, let's try again. If bag is equal to zero, what about that? then are telling it to like return like empty or true or something, depending on it. Then if bag is equal to one or greater than one, something like that. If bag greater than one, does that work?
Okay. Let's try it. Let's play it. All right. I like the attempt. Is very very good. Okay. There are many ways that different ways you can do this. All right. So that is it. Don't overthink this problem. It's what you said. If we said, first of all, let me talk about this thing here. Nobody asked about this double equal to and this single equal to. What's the difference between this double equal to and this single equal to? Okay, so this first single equal to is an assignment sign. That means we are assigning 50 to bag. Then double equals to is an equating sign. That means bag is equal to this. You understand? So in solidity programming, this equal to is not equal to as the equal to of mathematics. This equal to is an assignment sign. Then this double equal to is the mathematical equal to that you know. All right, so we'll be talking about this and other operators when we talk about operators in um in solidity. Okay, we'll talk about different types of operators and how we can use them. Okay, so for now, so let's rewrite this guy. So what if we say bag is um a bag is greater than or equal to one. All right, let me return true, else return false. Okay, let's see how this guy plays. So you see that our 50 that was showing false is now true. Well, because it said that if if um if it is greater than or equal to one, then it should be true. So if I redeploy now, I turn it to zero and let me redeploy. I see that it's false. So if bag is empty, it's going to show false. If bag is full, it's going to show what? It's going to show true. Have we learned something today? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let's take one more example. Okay, let's take one more example. Um okay, let's write the function. I'll call this function check number and I'll say this is student. Okay, I say public here returns bool. All right, so we're going to check if this number. Okay, let's say um let's
Good evening. Sorry, sir. Please, I want to ask a question.
all right.
Okay, so the but I'm trying to get what you're doing now. You used view because it was a state variable, a state stuff, right?
Yeah.
Why we are using pure because it's not going to read from it or what? No.
Okay. Yeah. See, pure and view. they are almost the same thing. Okay. So the difference between pure and view is that pure cannot read from state variables. Okay. But view can read from state variables. Now the similarity between pure and view is that they cannot change anything. They cannot effect any change on the blockchain. Understand? They can't effect any change on the blockchain. Sure you get. But one thing is that pure can read from a state variable, but view cannot read from a state variable. Okay. And also pure is more gas efficient than view. All right, we'll talk about more on when we're talking about scope and visibility. I think in our next class we'll talk about scope and visibility. Okay, so we'll talk about um when to use view, when to use pure. There are other types of scope like payable and the rest. Okay, so we'll talk about the fundamental scopes and visibility and on our next class. Okay, so for now we are using pure because we are going to be changing um affecting a calculation. Okay, let me use a very layman thing. If you want to do something like a plus b, let's say you say um unit number is unit a and unit b. Remember I said that this bracket here carries your input, and then you declared unit a and you declared unit b, and then you come to your smart contract and write a plus b, return results. View cannot run that function. What can run that function is pure. Okay, and we'll talk about that um on our next class. We'll talk about scope and visibility all together.
Yes, sir.
All right, so as I was saying, so let's say if number, the number we called, if number is greater than 10, say for example, we should return true. Sorry. Okay, so say else. Return false. All together. Okay, so let's run this contract and okay, so this is our old contract, so let's delete it. And now you see that in this check bag there's just a button, but this one is giving us an input field where we can check our number. So if I put 5 here, okay, it's going to give me false because 5 is less than 10. If I choose 10 here, it's going to give me false because the contract is greater than 10. Okay. If I put 50 here, it's going to give me true. If I put 11 here, it's going to give me true. Understand? If I put one here, it's going to give me false. So what you see that the contract is running very well because we told the contract to only give us to check if the number is greater than 10 altogether. So um how do we write how do we change it so that it can include 10 in the contract?
You equate it
Greater,
equal
equal
greater
to.
than or equal to. I want to ask a question, sir. Please, can I ask a question?
Answer my question first. What should
I
I
said, sorry, I said equal to.
equal to?
Yeah, like greater than or equal to. Like what you did to the initial one. Bag is greater than or equal to.
Okay, greater than or equal to. Yes, let me hear your question.
Okay, so what you have at the terminal here, can you please explain what we have from this address to, so like how does all this work? How do I get to like I want to get the whole thing. Yes.
Okay, let me expand my terminal so you see.
Mm.
All right. The function that we created is a call function. On our first class, I talked about when I was introducing remis.ide. I said that any contract you deploy is a transaction. Okay, so you are doing a contract, you are doing a transaction from one address to another. Okay, there is a contract address and there is a wallet address. Okay, so it's the wallet address that pays it to what happens to the contract. All right, and so I showed us this guy. Now, this is our demo wallet of Ether. Okay, so every time we run a contract, every time we deploy a contract, every time we call a contract, we are paying gas fee from here. We're together. So this guy is a call function. All right. This guy is a call for. If I, let's say, okay, I deploy. Let me remove this guy. Let me show you what's going on under the hood. Let's say I deploy. You're going to see that we have a transaction already. Okay, we have a transaction already. And if we open this transaction, you will see that there are a lot of things going under the hood. Let me increase it and see. So you see that we have a transaction hash. If you copy this transaction hash and put it on the Etherscan, you will see that there is a transaction going on already. And then you will see these guys here already. Block number, um, this is the gas fee, this is the gas cost, execution cost. Understand? I in our first class, first last week, I explained what gas is and how it's been implemented. And we can still see it here that every time we deploy a contract, every time we call a contract, a gas is being used. You understand? Anytime we interact with the blockchain, we use gas fee. You understand? We pay gas anytime we interact, whatever level of interaction, we pay gas. No matter how small it is, we pay gas fee. Understand? So this is it. And then we have from this is the contract address. Remember, I'm telling you that I told you that we have a wallet and then we have the contract. So the transaction is from the wallet to the contract. So we are paying our gas fee from the wallet to the contract. You get. So if you see here, you see this is your contract address, the contract address of this contract. Okay. And then we are paying from our wallet address, from our wallet, okay, to the contract, this guy to our contract decision making. You see that the name of our contract here is decision making. So we are paying to our contract, and these are the gas fee we are paying. This is the gas, this is the transaction fee, and this is execution fee. Okay, so do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
Uh,
if your contract do not run, there's going to be a message on your terminal, probably a reverse. That means, okay, there was a payment, but it didn't work out, so we return the money back to the person that wanted to pay because the contract didn't run. That's the place of reverse. Probably later when we are using reverse in our contract, we'll talk about that. Okay, so that is it. If you want to see the condition of your transaction status, um that's what the terminal does. Are we good?
okay, sir. I'm very sorry. I want to ask some more. Like this one's now, they all run on the test net, not like it's on the blockchain, right?
Yeah,
Shebi, Abi?
that's the test net. This is
Okay.
so what Remis does is that it gives you a demo blockchain, it gives you a fake world that acts like the real world. That's what the testnet is all about. All right, so we have different types of testnets. We have different types of testnets, but the one we are using on remis.ide is the one that they created for us. Okay, they are the one that created for us that should that our contract behaves like it's on the blockchain. Understand?
Mr.
Okay.
Thank you
Samuel,
very much, sir. I understand now.
All right. Yes.
Mr. Samuel, please, I think for the sake of everybody, I think you should be giving a time for question so that you will not be going up and down, wide and near. Okay. I know you don't used to see us, like you used to see us like hands up and all. Do you see it?
I don't see.
Okay, that's the problem because some people raise up their hands. So if it's possible, like maybe at least after every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you ask any question since you're not saying it, so that they will ask because when you are teaching and someone just comes up with a question, it's not really so cool. Okay, please just be asking after 10 minutes or 5 minutes any question. And please, if you are part of the students, don't ask any questions when you are asked to ask a question. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Messi. Okay. Let's take notes. Let's take notes of that. All right. So far so good. Any question on this? Okay. So
Yes.
all
Yes, if
right.
you can't
Yes,
see
I
your
have a
hands,
question.
yes, he can't see your hands. Anytime you say any question, just shoot your question. He can't see you,
Just
okay?
shoot. I will listen.
Okay. So, sir, please, can you explain this function line like from the check number, like
Okay.
everything on that line?
Okay. So um I said that on our first class, I said let me write it again. So see now how to write function. How to write a function. Okay, so you write your function is the keyword for writing function. So you write the name of the function, okay, probably on camel case, name of function. Now you see that, look at the way I wrote my name of function. The first word is small letter. The second word starts with capital letter word and all that, just like that. So if it's a one word, you should know that it's going to be on small letter. You understand? Okay, so I said that this is going to be the input, if there's an input at all, just like this one. You see this contrast that we wrote here? We created an input called number. Understand? So for you to run this function, it will ask you for the input. Now, this is a default way of writing constructor. So we did not write constructor for this, but this like this constructor. This is how constructors work. Okay, so this is the constructor, but this is the default constructor. Understand? So this is an input. We are going to talk about constructors, I think, next week to understand what constructors are. But even if you don't put in constructors, this is a way of implementing default constructors. So it asks you for an input. So after the input, this one is your visibility. Okay, your scope, returns, data type. All right, do you understand? So this is how to write a function. Now, it is not every function that has scope and this return data type. Not every function has these guys. All right, so we'll look into that kind of functions later as we write our smart contracts. Okay, not too very long. Okay, probably in our next class also we'll look into that kind of function. But for now, this is the type of function. This is how functions are. So any function that does not have scope or returns probably is right into the blockchain and it just have, but every function has accessibility. Understand? Every function has function name. Okay, probably might not have input, but this is the basic. Understand? This is the basic of writing a function. To write a function name, the input, and then visibility. Like I said the last time, we have four major types of visibility. We have the public, we have the private, we have the internal, and we have the external. Okay, so there are different uses to how these visibilities work. But you should understand that visibilities, as the name implies, is how people see your functions. So the extent of which people will see your function is the visibility. Okay, so if you put it in public, that means you can call this function anywhere in the contract. If you put it in private, that means it cannot be called anywhere in the contract. If you put it in external, that means it can be called um okay, public can be called even outside the contract. You put it in internal, that means it can only be called within the contract. If you put it in external, that means it can be called outside contract. So there are limitations to how these functions are called depending on your visibility. Okay, and so we talked about the scope. We talked about the scope. Talks about the character of the function. Okay, we talked about the pure. We talked about the view, the table, and other scopes like that. Okay, so returns. What return does is that you're telling the function what is going to return, the kind of data it's going to return. It's going to return number, you put integer, it's going to return alphabet, you put strings, it's going to return boolean, you put bool, just like that. Are we together? And so
Yes,
every
sir.
okay, so everything you're going to be writing on the function is going to be within these curly braces. So this is just the setup, and whatever you want to do with the function is going to be in the curly braces. So that's it. So that's how we wrote our check number. That's how we wrote our check bar. Okay, all together. Any other question before I go forward to the last example of the night?
No questions, sir.
All right, beautiful. So let's check. Okay, let's see if let's write a a a function that will carry our if else. So how do we use if else? So if is if and else is like saying, okay, this is for this, otherwise this is this. So what is the use of if else? Okay, since there's already if and else, what's the use of if else? So
Let's
if
say, okay,
oh, continue. Sorry. If sorry. Let me hear you.
okay. I think it's when like there are more than one conditions to be met or
Okay, beautiful. So if we have more than one condition, and then we want to check all, like we want to tick all the boxes. Okay, so we can use the if else. So let's write a quick smart contract to check that practice makes perfect. So let's say we write a function, and then we call it let's call it compare number. All right. So for us to compare numbers, that means there's going to be input. We are going to check this number. So let's call these numbers. Let's check these two numbers together. So we'll say this is int A, comma int B. All right. So we are checking two numbers A and B. Okay. So what are we using here? We're using probably view up here. I'm asking view up here.
So what did you say?
I'm writing a function. I've gotten to where I'm going to put my scope. Which scope am I using? View or pure?
Well, I think you're not reading from this thing from any state variable, so I'll go for pure.
Okay. Do we all agree? Hmm?
yes.
Okay. So let's say pure. And what are we returning?
Bool, right? Or is it if it's true or false bool? If it is integer or anything number or int, I be int.
It's int.
Okay, int. All right. So we are not going to be returning int. We are going to be returning strings. So
Okay, yes.
yeah, the reason why we are returning strings is because we are going to say if A is greater than B, we should say A is greater than B. It should return A is greater than B. If B is greater than A, it should return B is greater than A. But if none of them is greater than each other, it should return A is equal to B. Does that make sense? I come again. We are comparing two numbers now. We are looking for the one that is greater. So if A is greater than B, we will not say false. We will not say true. Remember, we want to check multiple, want to have multiple results. Okay, if we use Boolean, that means we are having just two results. So if you're having just two results, the if else is not necessary. So we want to have more than one result. So definitely bool will not be an option. So we want to say that A and B, if A is greater than B, we should say A is greater than B. We should tell the user A is greater than B. If B is greater than A, we will say B is greater than A. If A and B are equal, you say A and B are equal. Understand? All together. All together.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
All right. We are going to do something. We're going to be returning something. We're going to be returning string memory. And so I'll explain briefly why we are using memory, but later on I will have I will talk majorly on strings. Okay. So why do we include the memory keyword? Remember when we were talking about strings, we just talked about strings and there was not really memory. So what's bringing the memory now? All right. So memory is when you're storing string variables, we store them in memory. Okay. We store them in memory because they are temporary. Okay. They are temporary variables. So if we we put them in memory, all right. If we are writing strings, you must save them somewhere, else it's not going to work. I come again. When you're writing strings, you must save them somewhere, else it's not going to work. And when you're writing strings, most places the place we store strings is memory. Okay. Probably later we'll be talking about bits, talking about bytes, talking about um Boolean strings and all that. I will further. But if you don't understand, no problem. Just follow me. But just know that when you're returning string, you return strings, you store it in memory. How to get that? And then when you are declaring string, you also store in memory. So I'm going to say string memory results. All right. So what I'm doing here is that I am I am declaring result on this my function so that whatever outcome of my if statement, I'll store it on result. So anytime I want to call, we just call result and the answer will just be one result. The outcome would be depending on the state of the condition. Understand? But everything is going to be stored on result. For us to store it somewhere, we have to declare it. Okay? You cannot call something that does not exist. Understand? In in um in programming, you don't call things that are not as if they were. They have to be there so that you can call them. If they are not there, you call them, they will not answer. It's going to flag error. So for us to call anything, we have to declare it first. Okay? So that's why we are declaring results. So let's write our if statements now. So we said if A is greater than B, what should happen? Hmm? If A is greater than B, result should be
Return A is greater than B.
okay, result should be equal to sorry, result should be equal to A is greater than B. Is that very simple? Okay, so this is where our if else comes in. Else, if B is greater than A, what will happen? See the same thing here. We'll still say the same thing. B result is equal to B is greater than A. Always remember to close. And now our final one, else result is equal to, sorry, is equal to A is equal to B, or you say A and B are equals. Okay, all together, all together.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
say that if A is greater than B, we say result is greater than B. A is greater than B. If else if B is greater than A, the result will be B is greater than A. Else both of them are equal. That means if A and B are not equal to it, are not greater than each other, that means they are equal. Abi? Okay, so um let's run this and see what we have written so far. Let's delete this contract. Let us deploy and let's see what we have done. All right, so let's compare numbers. Let me open this guy. So let's say A is 10, B is 5. We say okay. All right, so let's check out the video. All right, I wanted to do this, but let me just tell you, this is the best time to ask ChatGPT and said, okay, I'm having issue with my code. Let me show you. I think I'm having something in our code, but I'm coming. Let me share my screen so that you can see what I'm doing of the board. All right, I can see and press.
So why is the else if coming before the else?
Okay, the else if is the second condition statement for B greater than A. Now the else is your final condition. So if the first condition and the second condition didn't work out, so we are going to have this. That's it.
So is it that else if must come before else?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So there are different types of AI tools that you use to check your code. Now, remember, I said that we have different types of errors. Now, this error is not giving us a syntax error. Remember, it's not giving us a syntax error. The code is running, but it's not giving us our output. Understand? Now, the code is running, but it's not giving us our output. This is an error, but the code is working very well. But this is an error. Now, how do we fix this kind of error? Now, there are two AI tools that I use. One of them is more efficient. To me, I believe one is ChatGPT and the other one is Find. Okay, so how does Find work? Find is dedicated to um, development, purely code related stuff altogether. So Find is dedicated to code related stuff. So when you go to Find, there's sorry, let me re, re let me take it down.
Please, how do you spell define?
Sorry, we'll see. Are you seeing it?
Yes, is it free or pay?
It's free, it's free.
Okay.
Not very, very free, but it's free.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
Okay.
Okay, so you can say,
So what does the find really do?
we're going to find out. I'm going to find out what find does. Okay, so you say, I am. Okay, say this function.
Sorry, please, is it a paid one or is it also a bit free?
No, 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 it's free. Free. Okay, so I will have to use my backslash and sorry. All right, so one beautiful thing about this is that this guy can be edited, unlike you can edit your question here and resend your question and it's going to give you another answer altogether. So it's going to go through your code and tell you, okay, so this is it, this is it, this is it, this is it, this is what is wrong, this is what is wrong, this is what the key point is, this is what the key point is. Now, there are do's and don'ts of using AI as a developer. Okay, a colleague of mine was complaining the other day and was saying that it's finding it difficult to write a function that he could just write on a normal. Why? Because he's used to using AI. So it's making him lazy. Understand? Now I can give you an assignment and say, okay, do this and do this and do this, and you just copy the assignment and come and paste it and say generate a code for you. And it's definitely going to do it for you. It's going to generate the code for you. But is it going to be a good idea?
No.
Definitely is not going to be a good idea. You will solve the problem, but you will not learn. All right, so you can actually copy the code, but not just copy the code. Read what it's saying and look at what it's saying. Understand? Okay, read what it's saying and look at what it's saying before you do it. So they're telling us that remove the unused result variable declaration. Okay, assign string literals directly to the return statement to each condition and blah 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 blah. So the difference between this code and this one is that okay, let me take it back to our code. So you can just copy this one. Let me do it. You can just copy it. Okay, so you come and paste it here. Okay. All right, so without any error. All right, so the reason why we are having error is because we declared result. All right, so it's saying that you should not declare result. Okay, so is it that we have, let me control Z. All right, so is it that we have this? Let me bring it down. This is actually, all right, I will delete this, but is it that we have this or we have this? Okay, the reason why I am I'm doing this is because I just want to show us how, in case you make a mistake, you have an error, you are confused, you're stuck, there's always a way out. Okay, now we can actually say that since we declare result is this, we can return results, return this, and return this. Okay, so let me remove that for now. All right, you see that we don't have any error. Okay, the reason why I took us to ChatGPT is so that in case you are having issue, you can always go and sort yourself out. Okay, but always make it your last resort altogether. Now, these are different approach. First of all, this is the approach that find gave to us. Second approach, this is the approach that I am using. I intentionally didn't put the error the return so that we can run into issue. And then now you see that this code ran very well, but it didn't give us error. It didn't give us error at all. Let's say, for example, let me put this guy. You see this red sign here? It's giving us error and said this code, there's something wrong in this code. There's a syntax error. Something is wrong in this code. You understand? Now, what we had that time, there was no red error. There was no red at all. It was just orange, just an armless warning. The code ran very well, and we deployed our contract, but it didn't give us what we wanted. Okay, so in case your code is running and it's not giving you what you wanted, you should know that, oh, you're having error. Definitely, so check it out. All right. So first of all, always know that ChatGPT is the last resort or resource for solving problems. Okay. All right. So we have A is greater than B. Okay. We have result is what? A is 50 and B is 30. If I 100, it's going to say B is greater than A. If I increase this guy to 500, it's going to say A is greater than B. If I say A is equal to B. All together. Any question? Any question? So what we didn't
Nobody's
do,
raising up their hands.
okay. What we didn't
Okay,
do
I
this.
Precious have a question.
All right, Precious, please.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, like, looking at these two codes, the one that worked and the one that ChatGPT finally corrected, like, what's the major like difference? Because I'm
Okay,
seeing like string memory was stated, why we didn't state it at first.
okay.
So I want to really understand, like,
All right.
what's
Difference between this code and this code is that this code is not storing um our result anywhere. Understand? It's not storing it anywhere. It's just giving us the result. While this one, understand, is storing it somewhere. It's storing the answer in results. While this one is not storing it anywhere. You understand? That's one. So secondly, the reason why our first code did not work on time while we went to find or while we went to AI is because we declared a variable which is working very fine, but we did not tell ChatGPT to give us as an output. Understand? We we declared a variable, but we did not tell ChatGPT, sorry. We did not tell um Solidity, we did not tell Remis to return it back. You get, so it's just there. It's running very fine, but we can't see it. So for us to see it, we have to use the return keyword, and it's going to give us back.
okay?
So in this part, we just returned the answers. We did not um, store it anywhere. Why here we return the answers and we store it somewhere.
Okay, fully understood. Thank you.
Hmm. Okay. So any other question?
Yes, go ahead now. You're muted.
Please unmute and I'm listening.
Okay. So what I wanted to, oh Jesus, my network is.
Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, like where you said it's stored, is it like you can see a history of what you've done?
When I say stored, I'm talking about
Yes. Right.
when I say stored, like I'm talking about variables and data. Like this is a variable, this is a variable, this is the data. Now this data is stored inside this variable. So whenever you are calling this variable, you are calling this data as well. So this result
Okay.
now is a container where the greater than this is inside. You
Okay.
get.
Okay. Now I get it.
Now, if let's say, for example, we want to use these results now in this same function, let's say we want to say result plus 5 is equal to the outcome plus 5 is equal to what? Give us the outcome of plus 5 plus any outcome to 5. Understand? Let's assume that the result is not a string, the result is a number. Understand? If we didn't store it somewhere, we can't use it again. Say, for example, you get if we didn't store it somewhere, there might not really be a need to reuse. Remember, I said it in the last class that when it comes to writing code, there is no formula. There's only principle. And what I'm teaching you is not a formula. What I'm teaching you is principle. Principle in a way that okay, this is how it's done. Whichever way you want to use how it's done to solve your problem, use it. Okay, so that's it. You see, this guy, this one that Fine gave to us, and this one that we wrote, they give us the same outcome, just different approach. Altogether,
Yes, sir.
okay. So, in the absence of no further questions, I think we should go into our exercise of today. All right. So, our exercise of today, we are going to be writing a little airdrop. Okay, this is going to be very, very simple. Not going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be very, very simple. Mind you, we are still going to be doing other assignments. This is not going to be the only assignment we'll be doing on what is it called? On condition statement. Okay. So this exercise, okay, I think that let me just copy it. Yeah. All right, this is going to be the exercise. Okay, so the exercise is define. So create a staking wallet variable as an integer. Create a staking wallet variable as an integer and set it to the value of 10. Okay, set to the value of 10 and then set it to the value of 10. Let's say 100. Let's say 100. Let's make the data big. All right, so write a function called airdrop. Write a function called airdrop, which has public visibility, is ID variable, and returns an integer. An integer. Okay. Create decision-making logic so that if the wallet has a value of 10, okay, if the wallet has 10, add 10, okay, the value have 100, add 10 more. If the wallet has a value of 100, add 10, okay, yes, add 10 more. All right, so add 10 more. That means if the wallet balance is 100, add extra 10 to the wallet. Add an else statement so that if the wallet does not equal to the value of, let me say 100, plus 100 there, 100, add only one more, and then return the value of wallet. Now, return, I want you to play with this assignment. So deploy the contract, then test the results, try changing the value of the wallet to 6, deploy for varying results. Okay, so you can check and vary result. Please, I want this assignment on or before our next class. No, before our next class. Okay, so the deadline for this assignment is 12, no, it's 6 p.m. tomorrow. Should I say 6 p.m.? 6 a.m. on Friday. All right, so the deadline for this exercise is 6 a.m. on Friday. So everybody should go and submit this exercise on or before 6 a.m. on Friday. Today is Wednesday. So on or before 6 a.m. on Friday, go and submit the assignment. If you have any question, if you have any concern, if you have any challenge during the course of the exercise, don't worry. We are going to do it together in our next class. Okay, but first of all, please submit your assignment. Please submit your assignment. For those persons that have not done the previous assignment, please go check it out and do it. That means you have 2 assignments to do. All right, the carryover assignment. Any question?
Okay, so I was not in the next class, and because I wasn't feeling too well, and I tried to access the video, and it was not like we're not yet giving access. So I don't know. So how do we get access to the
The
chat?
video have access. The video have access. All the videos have access. Just check
Okay,
on YouTube, TEFEM Network. Check the playlist for blockchain development. You have access. Even this video will be uploaded latest this night or tomorrow morning.
okay, okay.
All right, please, no question.
Okay, you said if create a decision making logic so that if the wallet has a value of 100, add only 10 more. 10 more what?
10 more now. What? 100 what? 100 now.
You just
100 now.
said
Yes. I don't know if you understand.
I don't.
100. The wallet is equals to 100. If the wallet,
Okay.
how do I do it now? Look at what we wrote here. Look at this guy that we wrote here. Bag is equals to 0. 0 what? You
Zero
understand?
bag now.
So wallet what? Wallet 100 now. Yes. So if the wallet is equal to 100, you should add more. Then if the zero is less than 100, just add one. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay, let's say if the value is 100 and above, so probably okay. So if the bag is probably, if you're directing that contract, if the bag is 200, it will still add just one to it. So you should carry 100 and above. If the bag is 100 and above, you should add 10. But the bag is below 100, you should just add one. So it's like saying if the user has 100 coin in their wallet, add 10, airdrop them 10. But if the user has less than 100, airdrop them 1. Okay. So what if we add something like said, add if s, so that if the user has 0, if the wallet is 0, okay, let's do it this way. Okay, so that everybody will be covered. So this is going to be add. Okay, I'll make this guy. Okay, add if statement, so that if the wallet is is less than, or let me not make it complicated. Let's do this guy. Okay, so I wanted you to write an if else statement, but don't worry, let's stay with this guy. Okay, so do this one. It's not going to be difficult. All right, I'll give you the difficult one for weekend. I'll leave the tougher one for weekend. So let's just play for this week during the week. Okay, so do this one. If the wallet is 100, add 10. But if it's less than 100, just add 1. Okay, and return the wallet, the outcome of the wallet. Okay, are we understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Um, last class I said that we are going to be choosing a class captain. Okay. The last class we're going to be choosing our class captain and an assistant class captain. Okay, it's going to be random, so there's no criteria to this. It's just that the Holy Spirit will fall on you and the matter will fall on you. And please, if it falls on you, please take it very, 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 very serious. Take it very, very serious. Okay, so what is the role of a class captain? Okay, so the class captain is in charge of reminding us of our classes. Class captain is remind is
Sorry, Mr. Samuel. Sorry. Please, if we are done with teaching, can we stop recording so that the recording will be short?
oh so sorry, so sorry.
If we are done with the teaching, I'm just saying, so I'll just end the recording. So when we upload it to be very short.
I'm done.
Hello? Me.